So now that we know, Martin, that your code generates the payment, the transaction that you wanted to make, we are going to show, to replicate how this process works on a user wallet. Because Charles here is the developer. This is you. Bob here, that we have checked, is the merchant that is going to receive the payments. Here we have our first payment. But then we can make Alice, another address, another wallet, to be the one who pays, to be the user, the customer. Okay? So, very quick, we are going to pack, to compress, to encode all this script into a link. Okay? You know where we're headed, Martin, is on the connect tab.
I know.
Okay, he knows. So remember, we can have here this code converted as a QR code or as a plain text link. We are going to copy the link, okay, and we are going to head to Alice wallet, and we're actually going to do this on a new tab to show you how this can work. And we paste the link and we run the app connection. Okay, so Alice is presented with the exact same app connector that we have been playing around while developing. And the only difference is that it's on kind of a full screen here, full sized. So if she continues here during the password, she's going to be presented with the same review, transaction review, with a transaction that is very similar, that looks very similar to the one we made before. And this is very important to understand on GameChanger Wallet. I'm not going to continue because you know what happens. But if we go back to the code, in any place here, we are saying who is going to pay. We are defining a wallet agnostic code, a piece of code that does not rely or depends on a user wallet to be run. This is no low-level code. We are not constructing the transaction at a low level. We are generating a pattern that is going to be executed on any other wallet. This is interesting because these links, this way, can avoid leaking sensitive information. What we need to do now, because Martin confirm me here if I'm wrong, what you need to do is to make the same thing, but without creating this dense, packed with a lot of information QR code. You want a smaller QR code because you like to print it on thermal paper or stuff like that.
Yeah, or low-res displays.
Or low-res displays. So you want like a more clear, less dense QR code. So to achieve this, we can do a trick. Martin here knows the trick, but we are going to show you the trick and the actual what actually is happening behind. It's more than a trick. It's a way of working with the apps and with GameChanger. So we have a way to use this script to call it from another one. Okay, so bear with me, trust me, we are going to add arguments to this code. So this block of code is going to receive arguments. We are going to use another macro, and we're going to pass here. We're going to pass here with the get function. We're going to bypass as a proxy, as a bridge, whatever arguments that are passed to this block of code. It's like on functional programming, kind of declaring arguments on a function. It's like this whole entire block of code is a function, and we are declaring that we are going to receive some arguments. In this case, we are kind of bypassing, passing through the arguments from the upper scope of this script that we don't know it yet, but the idea is that we are going to use it, we're going to call it, nest it inside some other piece of code. And then, therefore, we are going to have on the context of the script, we are going to have these arguments available the same way we have done here, available, using this macro, the get macro. Because what Maarten wants to do is to set this value dynamically. He wants to change that value every time he calls this piece of code to reuse this piece of code. Maarten, is this correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So we are going to assume here that inside the arguments object or variable that we are going to be receiving, that we are going to access the data, the ADA the ADA property inside this object, okay? Like one specific argument inside the arguments object, okay? Always check that if you start here the macro this way, that you are ending it the same way, and you are starting the macro with these good braces, okay? So if I run this now, we are going to hit an error because this passed the validation of the language, of the syntax, but we are going to hit an error when building the transaction because there is no argument supplied yet. So what we are going to be doing now is the fun part, the part that Maarten wants to hear. We are going to deploy this ready to be called piece of code on chain, on Cardano blockchain, forever, on something, on a protocol, a file storage protocol that we have developed on GameChanger Wallet that is called GameChanger file system, because it's actually a file system on chain. So if we go here to the deploy tab, and you can read all these intro, that is nice because it's a philosophy, it's like an idea on how you can start working with the apps, you can use this interface to create a disk. You can create all the disks you want, and you can update the files on a disk. Disks are going to be NFTs, special NFTs on your wallet. So in this case, well, I have here previous test. We're going to say we have been doing some tests, so we are going to pick a new name. Martin, what can we say here? Like PayPal, only PayPal, okay? Remember that this is the new disk that we are
Make
going
it simpler.
Yes, this is the disk that we are going to be using. This is the asset name of the NFT, of the disk NFT. So we have here a previous file on previous tests. We're going to delete this because this is the list of files that conform a disk. And we're going to use this button here that is going to automatically add the code on the playground on this disk to easily deploy it. And here we have the path and the name of the file, and here the contents. But we are going to call this something smaller and simpler because Martin wants to economize on the amount of bytes of these QR codes. So we're going to say something like pay, for example. Okay? Okay, remember you have to have UTXOs and ADA to do this because otherwise it will fail. Because to write these disks on chain, you need ADA and UTXOs. We are going to create more than one transaction for writing this. So that's the reason. If I click continue, some transactions are going to be built here. This is a GameChanger file system write, and this is one of two. This is 2 of 2. I'm going to sign these transactions, and I'm going to submit them to the blockchain. Why this happens? I'm going to tell you that this, as you can see, is another DApp connector, because most of the wallet features are now DApp connections. So this one, for example, is just another one, another DApp connection that we are using on the wallet. If you check inside this DApp connector, you're going to see, for example, on this advanced part, you can check actually the code that GameChanger Wallet is using to store these files. You can check all the codes behind these DApp connectors. That's the idea behind them. To be open code, auditable code. If you need privacy, you can encrypt data or pieces of code as well. That by default is to work on an open, auditable, and perpetual, sometimes, if you store it on these file systems, the app connections. So here we can close this, and we have a new asset on our wallet. So if we can go up here and we can click refresh. Once we have done this, we can go to our dashboard, our balance of this Charles wallet, and we can see, of course, we have other tests here before, but we can see that we have one disk NFT called PayPal, right? This is the one that we have just created. And I'm going to make this very simple and very quick because the idea is that you can do this, and as I told you, you can copy and modify and clone and audit what GameChanger is doing. And we're going to use this on our benefit. Here is the list of files that this disk contains. This is the only file, pay.gc script. And this is the script that we have coded that generates the payment. If we click here, run, it's like an executable. You can actually run this code, the code that we have created. We are going to make this very quick. We're going to go to these options here, and we are going to say edit on playground. So this diap connector launched by GameChanger Wallet has the minimal code to call this on-chain script. And we are going to benefit from it, from that code, because it's very minimal and it's easy to do it this way. This is the code that GameChanger runs when GameChanger wants to call this file. This file, this string here, is similar to URLs. You know, this is an URI, is a definition of, for example, in this case, a file on GameChanger file system. So the important thing here is that to keep in mind is that this starts with the protocol, GameChanger file system. This is the policy ID of the disk NFT of the NFT. And this is the asset name, PayPal, okay? This is the version, and we are going to use latest for now, but keep in mind that you are going to be able in the near future to reference versions like version 2, version 3, and 4. And this is great because you can froze code in time forever on chain, creating perpetual apps, perpetual code that is not going to be changed, never, ever again. If someone updates the disk, new layers, new versions of the disk are going to appear. We are going to benefit from this latest then tag. And this, as you remember, is the name of the file. Martin, we are okay? Any questions?
But argument.
Where? Yes, I know. I'm going to simplify the code by removing this part that is not interesting for us right now. And what Martin wants to do is to pass, remember, the amount of ADA to the script. Okay, this block of code is going to import and call the code inside the script. We code it and store it on GameChanger file system. So here we are going to pass, using the arguments property, we are going to pass an object containing the ADA property that we used on the code before, and we are specifying here a new amount of ADA. We can say, for example, 6 ADAs. Okay, just to change the previous number to test this out. So if I run these, and I hit here continue, I put the password, you can see now that we are presented with the transaction review with an output of 6 ADAs. So if I continue, you know how this ends. This is going to work. So what I am going to be doing now is to convert this tiny script, this little script, that we can make it even smaller. For example, I'm going to say A or something like that here. I'm going to let this way because we can, and this is going to be converted on the connect tab as a link and as a QR code. So we're going to use the link now, but Maarten is going to use the QR code. If we copy here the link and we head back to Alice, okay, we are going to paste the link here, and Alice wallet is going to load the on-chain script and call it with these new arguments. And if I hit continue, you are presented with the same transaction review. We can check on EUTXOs.
It worked.
Yes, this worked. So I click yes.
Awesome.
And
yeah,
waiting for the payment that has been created with a perpetual DApp. Because if you have code on chain, forever, they're stored. It's like a perpetual DApp. It's going to be there forever, and you can reuse code, so Maarten don't have to create huge QR codes or store a lot of code again and again.
Yeah, and you can later add stuff like smart contracts or.
Exactly, this can be combined with a lot of stuff, and so while this because this has worked, we are waiting for the APIs to track this transaction. But while this happened, okay, Maarten, anything else you want to see? You want to discuss?
No, I think this is clear to me. Yeah.
This works.
This is my next step of integrating all these new goodies.
Okay, here we have the payment. Of course, you can go to the Block Explorer here to check this transaction. And that's it. We have the transaction on. If we check, if we go to Bob, that was remember the merchant. We go here, we update these. We update here the list of transactions a bit. We see that we have this transaction 2 minutes ago confirmed with the 6 status here. Okay, that are received on this wallet. Main address, current address, because we are on Bob, and Bob was the merchant. Okay, now that's it. And I don't know, Maarten, if there is anything else. I guess that now you can play with this. We have to update the CLI because Maarten can use the CLI tool. We have to generate these QR codes, and we need to update it to the new version 2. That's maybe missing. But this is this is the piece you miss. You need. Okay, let's close this session for today. Thanks for watching.